best offers. So they're required to choose one or the other. It's usually a three-party panel, but there's a neutral arbitrator and party arbitrators who represent the teachers and the Board of Education that make up this three-person panel. The parties try to agree on a neutral for that panel voluntarily. If they can't agree on one, the state appoints a neutral. And from the time that that neutral is appointed, within 5 to 12 days, this is what the statute says, within 5 to 12 days of the appointment of that panel chair, a first hearing is held. And the first hearing is typically nothing more than a scheduling hearing and a way for the panel to learn and understand what are the disputed issues. So how many future hearings are needed. The window of time for that hearing to be completed from that very first hearing for the entire process of evidence and hearings before the panel is 25 days from the time of that first initial scheduling hearing. So if you happen to have 10, 12, or 15 disputed issues, that may require 2, 3, or 4 hearings that all need to be completed by 25 days after that first hearing. And I've been involved in some arbitrations where literally it might be on a Saturday or a Sunday evening until 11:52 or 11:59 before the stroke of midnight, but the parties are still having the case heard because, as I mentioned earlier, the timelines within the statute cannot be waived. There's no way to modify, alter, amend, or waive any of these timelines that I'm talking about. There's extensive evidence and documentary evidence through evidence, testimony, first-hand testimony, a variety of other things that are presented to the arbitrators for them to determine which of the two offers they should accept. Again, remembering they can only accept the board's offer or the teacher's offer. They can't find a middle ground. As part of those proceedings, a representative of the fiscal authority has the ability to come and make a financial presentation to the panel. Ordinarily, the board takes it upon themselves to do that, either through the finance director from the town coming and making a presentation, but the Board of Finance has an independent right to actually make a financial presentation to the panel. As I said, hearings are completed within 25 days, and within 20 days after the close of the hearings, a decision is rendered. And in between that time, briefs are filed advocating for the particular issues that are disputed. So for round numbers, when all is said and done, if this contract went to arbitration, there would likely be a decision back by the very end of October or the first week in November, just to give you an additional timeline. What happens if the parties don't like the award that's rendered by the arbitration panel? What can be done? That award is binding on the teachers and the Board of Education, but it can be rejected by the legislative body of the town council. Timeframes are a little different, and the amount needed to reject the contract is a little different than what I had mentioned earlier. That vote has to take place within 25 days of receiving the arbitration award, and it must be rejected with a 2/3 vote, so a supermajority. And that is, again, statutorily provided for. If the agreement is rejected, it goes to what's called a second panel, or a second look panel. If the town council decides to reject, they can provide reasons to the second look panel as to why the contract was rejected. However, and the teachers can and the Board of Education can as well provide reasons or a type of position statement advocating for certain things for the panel to look at.